We're gonna rise, keep on rising.
It's Talk Radio 790 KABC. This is Change Reaction Radio. Welcome. If you're new here, that's okay. So are we. My name's Matt West. I'm a producer with The Change Reaction. We'll learn all about that over the next hour. You may recognize my name. That's probably because there's 500, 1,000 people in the world named Matt West.
Name.
Pretty common. You'll definitely recognize my co-host. She's the singular Christina Pascucci, KTLA, Fox News. Amazing to be in the studio with you on
It's
this.
so good to be with you. I feel like it's the first day of school. I'm just all giddy and excited, and not only because I'm here with you, but because of what we're doing, what we're talking about. Change Reaction Radio is, people should expect the unexpected. It's not only about this organization that we're going to tell people all about that's turning philanthropy on its head and doing things that have never been done before, but it's part of a movement that's being created to change the way that people think about helping one another.
It's definitely different.
Yeah.
Philanthropy is a thing that I think a lot of people kind of think they understand. And I think as they get in touch with what the Change Reaction is about, the organizations that they're partnered with and how they're helping in the community all across Los Angeles and Southern California, they'll start to get it. It's in the name.
Yeah.
It's change.
And it's not just about the movement, but people will also learn about things we're seeing firsthand on the ground when we're doing the work, things that are very topical, that are happening in the community, that people are talking about, that they really deeply care about. And so I think people are in store for a treat.
And we've only been doing this together for a couple of months with the Change Reaction, but they've actually been doing this for about 5 years now. We've just been covering the story since January from the beginning of the wildfires. Take a listen to some of what we've been covering here.
It's really a movement. It's a movement of generosity and love.
Thank you so much.
We act quickly. We know that people are literally praying for a miracle.
That paid off your loan for you.
Change Reaction has changed my life.
Since their inception in 2019, Change Reaction has given away $45 million to 37,000 people.
It's unbelievable. And none of this would be happening without our third guest, really our third co-host, the founder of the Change Reaction, Greg Perlman. Greg, thanks for being here and thanks for making all of this happen.
Yeah, excited to be here. Excited to talk about it.
We've been talking about it for a couple of months. You've been doing this since 2019. Let's take it back to the beginning, get everybody on board and understanding what this is all about. Where did it begin? How did you even decide to start something like this?
It totally evolved. It started when you help people directly, you kind of feel this impact that's so over and above typical giving. And so as we started helping people more and more directly, I kind of decided that for my wealth and the money that I wanted to move, I wanted to figure out how to scale giving to people directly.
Now, where did you get your wealth to begin with? What's a little bit of your background?
I'm in the real estate world.
Okay.
I'm in the apartment business, in the affordable housing space.
Amazing.
And I've been doing it for 35 years. And I do have this position about my wealth. I have a position about a lot of people's wealth on this, is that I feel very lucky to have made the wealth that I have. When I started buying real estate in the late 80s and watched rents grow, interest rates down, things go through the roof, I really didn't have an idea at the time as I was acquiring buildings that it would be like this. So as it started building values just enormously, I kind of felt, incumbent on me that I needed to give back to this community that had really allowed me to build such an inordinate amount of wealth.
And your position is that people who have the means to do so should also give back. You have very strong opinions that we'll talk more about later.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I have to say, so I've been a TV journalist here in Los Angeles, KTLA, then Fox LA, for 15 years. I've worked with more organizations and philanthropies than I can count. And this one stands out as probably the most impactful I've ever witnessed. And it's not just the impact, it's the heart, it's the team you've built. Who were the first people that you helped? Because I feel like your mantra has really been to fill a gap and address the needs of people in a way that those needs are not being addressed anywhere else.
Well, we started helping people directly coming out of homeless shelters and focused on that population, working homeless people, helping them get apartments and furnishings, and saw the thank you notes coming. But when we launched the Change Reaction, the first place I went in to meet the CEO of UCLA Hospital, one of the biggest hospitals in the world. And, we were just talking, and she's an amazing woman. I said, what happens when a patient comes in, gets a lung transplant or something, major surgery? How is the family dealing with that if it's the breadwinner? How are they paying rent? How are they living when dad's in the hospital? And she just looked at me and said, well, that is a huge issue. And we're a hospital. We would love to be able to resolve that, but that's not ours. I go, well, what if I put up a fund solely for the patients in the hospital? And she was all in. We launched that fund, and really we were off to the races and running. What happened is I'll just, kind of talk about this letter. I got this letter about 3 months in as we were making gifts to all these people. It was from a social worker. And she wrote me this letter. Her name's Amy Madnick. I still am tight with her. She said, hey, I just needed to write you a letter because I've been a social worker here for 31 years, and I just want to let you know that your generosity has changed my life. Up until now, I could maybe give a food voucher, every once in a while, parking validation. But the idea that I could pay people's rents and transportation, hotel costs for families, it's changed the way that I can do work and changed my life. And what I realized about that is I kind of read it over and over again because it was the first sentence. My generosity changed her life. Well, guess what? I didn't give her anything. All I did was give her the power to use my money to help all these people she's been serving for 31 years. And that's when I realized that if I want to do something big, if I want to scale this, it's about the Amy Madnicks of the city. It's about these social workers, these teachers, these impact leaders who just want to help other people. I need to find people like her and make sure that my generosity can change their lives.
And it's pretty remarkable when you think about, we heard in that clip earlier that you've helped more than 37,000 people. With the horrific fires in LA, that number's gone substantially up. $45 million last 5 years. That number also has gone substantially up the last few months. So you personally read all of these requests, you've said, in terms of people who are needing help.
Yeah, I mean, some people might think that I'm on the spectrum for doing all that because I am sitting there reading these notes, and they are just taking me to another level. I am very deeply involved in all these notes coming in, and it just creates data in my head to understand what is going on in the city, and to just see over and over again these hard-working people in LA that are working 1, 2, 3 jobs, single moms. These are really kind of the working people that make LA thrive. So yeah, I keep needing to read them because I keep needing to understand what's happening in the city so we can address those issues.
But how are we finding all of these people to help? I mean, it started with a partnership with UCLA, and then it grew from there. 37,000 people reading, 90% of the letters? Like, how does the whole sort of mechanism work where you're able to help that many people? How did it scale from that one partnership?
It just, we're now in 12 hospitals, all the biggest hospitals in Los Angeles. We started creating partnerships with the best on-the-ground organizations that are focused on every sort of kind of person coming through some different channels. Transition age youth that are working, veterans that are working, elderly folks, just hardworking people, people coming out of prisons that are trying to change their lives, all the folks in LA. And today we've got over 200 organizational partners. So,
and I always hear over and over again how you're doing an amazing job cutting the red tape, the bureaucracy. People who are in arguably the worst moment of their life, they're having to apply for grants, and they're having to wait a period of time to receive that money. And I just heard Elaine Flowers, who we're going to hear from in a week from now. She was one of the people you helped. She lost everything in the recent LA fires. She told me how she called 211, the LA number, and she went to the place to get housed, and they said, okay, that'll be $700 for the deposit. She didn't have $700. She couldn't afford that, she said. And if it weren't for the Change Reaction, she would have ended up on the streets. In fact, she did live out of her car for 2 days before she heard of the Change Reaction, and then you immediately got her housed. But does it surprise you when you hear of just abysmal failures like that coming from the city?
Well, it's really it's disheartening that all philanthropy doesn't have this easy access to money. Because like you said, it's $700. And like you think about the wealth that's in the city, right? So for me, it's a no-brainer. If somebody brings it to me, especially when it's a trusted social worker or somebody on the ground that I've already decided I've asked to bring me those stories, teachers, lawyers, all these folks, that it's an easy yes. This is a small amount of money, and that's the whole reason that there's no reason to make it red tape. So it's not just where the city fails. It's all philanthropy and the foundations of the city. They put such restrictions on it. I ask all my partners all the time, is there any other sources of money to help pay rents to stop people from being evicted, pay car repairs so people don't lose jobs, and on and on. And every time they say none. They make us wait weeks. By the time we would get a grant, the people would be homeless and on the street.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, so many people are right on the margins, and you're trying to help as many people as you can, as quickly as you can. And you've got 200 partnerships, 200 different organizations that you've created alliances with and partners with over the last 5 years.
Yep.
I think it'd be really interesting to hear from one of the people who you've helped. And we've got an amazing guest coming up in the next segment who's going to kind of give us her impression and her experience of working with the Change Reaction. Can you stick around for another segment? We've got so much to talk about. I know we wanted to just talk to you at the top of the show.
Yeah.
Kind of give us the overview, but this is so deep. I think we can go a lot further.
Yeah, it is deep, and I'm excited to I'm excited to talk to her because she's one of the most amazing organizations in the city, and we've done a lot together. So it's going to be exciting.
Amazing. So we'll talk a little bit more about the Change Reaction here on Change Reaction Radio. You are listening to 790 KABC.